This week, Toyota's Camry SL Hybrid. Normally I'd be giving you a huge diatribe from the outside on how the car looks and about its design and so forth, but we honestly have been dodging the most horrendous rain all day, so I'm going to make the outside bit really quick. Design-wise, Camry is now a few years old, and in fact it's only had an update in 2021, but it was released for the 2018 model year. And an electric release boot. So not an electric boot, but an electric release boot. This is cavernous. And underneath, there is a space saver spare. Very unusual in a hybrid. And the reason this can do it is because it's a front wheel drive only. And this is a fully featured car for 5 people. If I put the armrest up, there is plenty of room in the back. And with the seat set for me, there's a good few inches. My feet fit under the seat in front, despite the fact that this is an electric seat, and there's a couple of USBs down below as well. But the headspace is a little bit limited, and I'm, around 6 foot, 183 centimeters, and this is just a sliver between my head and the sunroof. And in the front, the driver's seat is electric, and the dash is part electronic. So it's a 7-inch multi-function information display, but I think they could have, for $50,000, made that a full LCD, given that some of the other Toyotas have got it. There are automatic headlights, which they say are high quality LED. Well, I'd hate to think they were low quality. And the cabin, as you can see, you either like this asymmetric look or you don't. The front seats are also heated and cooled. And because this is a front-wheel drive hybrid model, there's an EV-only mode and sport mode and eco mode and normal mode. It does have Apple CarPlay, but it's wired. Because this is one of the older Toyotas, it doesn't yet have wireless. But do you know what? I'm okay with that. But one thing I did discover was that the outlet for the USB outlet for the Apple CarPlay at the front's not particularly fast at charging. Now, some of the other cars that I've had, even in the wireless chargers, which this doesn't have, it's been super fast. So, in a couple of ways, the Camry is just a little behind. The part leather interior, I think, is very nice. It's certainly premium. Everything's nice and soft, even the top of the dashboard. Everything you touch and feel feels like quality. The information system is slightly old Toyota, and again, I'm okay with that. It's got some fixed buttons down the side, so you can always get at them. You always know where they are. And you can feel for them too. There's a tactile feedback that you don't get from software buttons on a screen. Down below is the air conditioning system, twin zone climate control with a nice easy to find sync function. I don't have to go into a menu, I don't have to do anything. It's all right there on the dash, along with some other air conditioning controls down below, including the recycle, which I've got to tell you, in some cars is getting harder and harder and harder to find. While we're in these bendy bits, I want to talk about the suspension. We've got McPherson struts on the front and multi-links at the rear, and it makes the ride feel very, very posh. And I suppose that's why a lot of silver service taxis have them. We see them all around the place. Well, we certainly see them in Sydney, and I've seen them when I've been in other capital cities in Australia. And in some regions, this Camry is considered to be a luxury car. So if it is for $50,000, and in fact, I looked at Toyota's website the other day, and this is almost $55,000 drive away. Plastered all over Toyota's website, doesn't matter what model you look at, are warnings about extended delays in delivery, which is slightly worrying, I think, when you're buying a new car. I had a friend that had to wait 18 months for his hybrid RAV4, and then it got T-boned. So of course he wasn't going to wait another 18 months, he bought another brand. You're all familiar with Toyota hybrids by now. It can spend some of its time in EV mode, and the front wheels will regenerate when you take your foot off the accelerator. But the battery is very, very small, certainly by EV standards. I put it in sport. There's not really much to indicate that it is in sport. And I should also tell you that because this is the top model, the eCVT has paddles. And a little bit funny. All right, foot's flat to the floor. Now we're at 100. Wow, that was not as I expected. I did expect it to be much more lively. Oh well, it is 160 kilowatts pulling quite a big car. Okay, I've pressed the button to activate my smart cruise, which also has smart lane centering. It's not perhaps as on point as some of the other Toyotas and indeed some of the other cars that we've driven recently, the Kias and so forth, Kias and Hyundais. But there's a few things that I've noticed. The system resets automatically to normal mode, driving mode, when you restart the car. It also resets the distance to the car in front to maximum. Now the user system, we just changed lanes, has an infinite number of variables. And you can go in there and you can turn off the blind spot and the AEB and the lane control. I don't know why on earth you would want to. These systems are looking around you to stop you from banging into things. Why would you want to turn it off? But there are some bumpkins, even some bumpkins in the motoring world, that don't like them. Anywho, the ride on the highway, I've got to say, is excellent. Excellent. And it's very good at soaking up those little bumps. The little bumps that, little regular bumps that can be very irritating. We're now on a cement road in a tunnel. Just wanted you to see how pretty this looks at night. This blue effect, this blue backlit, and all of the controls on the steering wheel, they're also backlit. The only ones that aren't backlit are the ones on the stalks. Now I've been driving this around all week, and so far, doing just weekly chores, it's only been maybe 100 kilometers. The needle hasn't moved off full, and I've done 5.4 litres per 100 kilometers. Oh, I don't know if you can see this, but up above, let me tilt this up. See if you can see these pretty lights. Isn't that pretty? And you can see now, hopefully, on the center of the dash is a little digital flow meter. So we are now, in fact, in EV mode with the battery driving the front wheels. Oh, now the engine's just cut in, and it's also driving the wheels and charging the battery. All right, I've got the system now set at 100. We're now on a 100 kilometer an hour section of freeway. And this is the section that David and I always bring cars to, because the ones with automated steering have a really hard time detecting a line marking from old bits of roadway construction. Seems to be coping fairly well. Yep, doesn't seem to be mistaking the old roadwork markings for line markings. And the other thing I noticed, that going through the tunnels, the car's navigation system didn't seem to be confused. It didn't lose signal like my phone did. Toyota's hybrid system is one they've stuck with for, must be going on 25 years. And once upon a time, when you said hybrid, the world thought of a Prius. Well, Prius is no longer on sale in Australia because it simply didn't sell. Reason it didn't sell is that you can get a hybrid in almost every other Toyota model available. That's why. Why would you spend all that money on a Prius when for the same money you could get a Camry, a much bigger car that's frankly much nicer to drive? That's all this week for Toyota's Camry SL Hybrid. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just over there to subscribe.